In any work at all.
Canal was opened, I think, in 1817, roughly 1817, and it served as a very important corridor for freight and for passengers for about 100 years, and then it closed. And it opened again thanks to the good work of Waterways Ireland, and we have Éanna Rowe and Michael Bain here, two of the main instigators of that work in terms of opening that canal in 2010. And since 2010, Longford County Council and the Tourism Committee and other local development groups have been looking at the canal to see how can we derive economic benefit from it, and what can we do to kind of attract visitors into our area. And the Greenway is the kind of solution in terms of opening an artery into this region, opening a corridor that people can access the region, cyclists and walkers and tourists and visitors. And the challenge then when we get them into the region is to make sure that we entertain them and that we welcome them and that we show them the wonderful countryside that we have here in the Midlands. And this latest opening and sod turning ceremony is just kind of the latest step in completing the walk from Dublin to Clondra, where it enters the Shannon in Clondra, County Longford. And there's only one more segment left, and we'll appeal to the Minister's goodwill and good grace. And I know Boxer Moran has his head turned and sideways and leftways and rightways to kind of persuade him that there's only one piece of the jigsaw left. So this is the second last piece of the jigsaw. There's one little segment from here down to Killashee, and then we'll have a wonderful Greenway. The match of the Greenway in Westport, the match of the Greenway, that's the much vaunted Greenway that attracts 300,000 visitors from Westport down to Achill. This is every bit as good and will be every bit as successful once we get it completed. So we would appeal to your good grace, Minister. Like you said, that Ballymahon is currently basking in the glory of Centre Parks, and Centre Parks is an enormous facility for Ireland, for the region and for Ballymahon in particular, and it's going to bring over 2,000 visitors a week to Ballymahon, which is incredible to think about the scale of investment that's gone into the project, the number of visitors who will come here, and hopefully we'll be able to keep them outside of their visit to Centre Parks. And one of the things we've noticed over the time, and Centre Parks have noticed, is what a unified group that they deal with in Ballymahon in terms of the traders and the tidy towns and the different development groups and community groups, all pulling together, all pulling in the one direction. And they've been a pleasure to deal with, and it's very easy to deal with a group like this when they speak with one voice.
It's my honour to welcome Minister Ross and Deputy Moran here. Thank you very much. We were working very, very hard on plans here for a long time, and we never thought we'd see this day. So thank you again a lot. But I'd like to thank Mickey Greeley, of all people. Mickey has been working day and night in this area along the Royal Canal, and it really is fantastic. And Mickey is one of those people that has done a lot behind the scenes, and he deserves a lot of credit. Thank you, Mickey.
Gaelic councillors, Mark, thank you for your kind words. Deputy Troy, Deputy Moran, it really is it's a great pleasure to be here today, not least, I suppose, because the allocation of the funds which I've been able to do this was really the first tangible initiative I took when I was in government. Deputy Troy would say it's the only one, but I would agree with that. Let me to it. The second one is will be to formally do what I'm doing here and turning this on. I would just like to say one thing and one thing alone, and that is that Deputy Moran has my ear chewed off, not just for the road, the N24, but they're also about greenways, and he introduced me to greenways, and personally, and I think the government, but I can take personally, I'm a real convert to the idea of greenways, and as speakers have said just before me, they're fantastically good value for money. The number of people that can enjoy them for what is very little expense in the kind of terms of the big budgets that we're discussing at the moment is something which I've only appreciated, and I have to confess it, recently because of coming into the tourism portfolio. And I'm not going to make the sort of promises which the last speaker asked me to make in any meaningful way today, but he can be absolutely sure that the government, my department and myself are more than sympathetic to the whole concept of greenways and the extraordinary imagination and the prospects that they hold. I think the really telling phrase that I heard this afternoon was the idea that you'd have a greenway all the way from Drumcondra to Achill. Is a really exciting idea, and it's a really exciting idea for tourism. And as has been said here already today, I think that will be a huge part in developing the Lakelands brand, which, by the way, if there's any threat to that Lakelands brand, I would just point to the fact that it's in the programme for government, and Deputy Moran and I were signatories to that, and I know that Deputy Troy too is utterly committed to the idea of the Lakelands brand, because it's important that it matches and it points out the great value, the great attractions in this part of the world. I think the Wild Atlantic Way has a tremendous selling point, and it's a wonderful expression. But here in the Midlands, I think there is a certain amount of lack of appreciation of the wonderful basic tourist attractions that you have here, and I intend, as Minister, to promote those as much as the other ones, which are maybe better known.
Okay, whenever you're ready, you've just lift
Somebody on the head.
There we go. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Here we go, Minister.
Okay, are we all right? Hi, very good. Enthusiasm for the greenway. The nation generates.
Thanks very much. Perfect. Thanks very much.